we should look at them and listen to them or study them with a different mindset. Like, obviously, like when we're listening to hymns or Christian music, we should be meditating on that and like using that as encouragement in our walk with Christ and things like that. But with things like rap music, I think that it should be looked at with more of a sense of awareness, because, I mean, obviously, like, I don't think that rap music is for everyone. Like, if you choose to not listen to rap music because you find no enjoyment in it, or you just don't want to put yourself around those kind of ideas and concepts, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think that when we are looking at rap music, I think that we should look at it as sort of studying it and looking at it with discernment, discerning the things that we should cast out and ignore, and then also being able to find beauty in the respectable and creative and artistic qualities of it. So, does that answer your question?
Okay. Questions from Mrs. LaRue?
I actually have two. The first one is, we kind of tittered just a minute ago about one of your rap artists that you mentioned, who, though a Christian, still has some obscenities or vulgarity in it. And I think sometimes as believers who have either always grown up as believers and therefore sheltered to some extent, or at least have been believers a long time, you take someone like Chance the Rapper, and don't you think that sometimes we forget, we're looking at it backwards, like he should be getting better, we shouldn't have vulgarities, rather than, wow, what did he come out of, and how far already has he come? And it takes a while to quit smoking, quit drinking, quit whatever those things are as God continues to sanctify us. Is that not something that you're starting to see in some of these really radically horrible upbringings that some of these artists are coming from, even in cinematography, who are now becoming led to the Lord? And I'm wondering how uncommon that is. That's my first question for you. I mean, are you seeing some of that now?
Definitely. Yeah, with people like Chance the Rapper, and there are a lot of other artists that kind of have, like, still implement vulgarities, but have like a better mindset than people that are just absolutely just like writing all of their lyrics with complete vulgarity and with no respect for authority or things of like beauty or anything like that. And I think that right now a lot of people, like, it's kind of at like a stalemate where there's like this like group of people that are listening to rap that that aren't really looking at it for anything except for like its enjoyment and everything, and then a lot of people generally Christians are looking at it with kind of like shunning it, just like absolutely not really paying attention to that at all. And I think that if we begin to study it and find the uplifting qualities and focus more on the artistic aspects of it rather than just listening to it and like finding it catchy, so then playing it all the time in our car radios or something like that, I think that we will begin to see kind of a drop-off for all of the uncreative artists and people that are just looking to make money and things like that. And I think that there will be an uprise with people like Chance the Rapper who have a better mindset and who are actually striving towards something more than just money, and are striving towards actually making modern art that puts across a good opinion for us to ponder and for us to learn from. So, yeah, I would say.
Okay, good. My second question, you talked about the history of rap, and also it as an art form. So these are kind of, this question and about your observations, more of a culmination. As rap takes on global popularity, and certainly we see in Korean pop that extensively, one of the most famous dramas coming out of Korea in the last few years, Kill Me, Heal Me, its most profound piece of its soundtrack was Auditory Hallucinations, which takes rap. It's primarily a romantic, almost ethereal, romantic song, not fast like pop. And then the genre of rap by a male artist, vocalist, marries into it, they isolate, and then they kind of juxtapose. And so you're seeing globally things like rap becoming this unexpected art form that beautifully melds. I've heard it in some Christian music. There's some, I think, is it Austin French does one sort of like that, where there's a melding. So we're seeing not only internationally, and not just for BTS and other K-pop groups, but even for really profound soundtracks, this marrying of rap with something else. What do you think about that? And have you noticed that? Are you very aware of that?
Yeah, I haven't really paid that much attention to K-pop, but I mean, that's just not my personal interest. But
I have daughters.
Right? Yeah, respectful. But I have I have noticed that a lot in more rappers that I choose to listen to, like Chance the Rapper in his album Coloring Book. There's this one song called How Great, and for the first 2.5 minutes of the song, it's just saying how great is our God, and it's an orchestra and a choir just singing that for the first 2.5 minutes, and then he goes into his lyrics and he starts talking about he had this lyric and he says, magnify, magnify, lift him on high, but it's Spotify to qualify, a spot on his side I cannot ratify or modify. My mama made me outfly. And then he says the book don't end with Malachi, and he's talking about the good news of Jesus, and he's kind of interweaving that into his lyrics in a subtle enough way to where the secular masses can still appeal to it, and they don't really notice that, but they're sort of getting this opinion and getting this kind of perspective that's leading them in the right direction, and kind of giving them more to think about than just the immoral things that are ranted about in so much pop music today. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Privet.
So
This is our last question.
building off of what Mrs. Duke asked with the consumption versus observation, we see, do you think that there is a line that we should draw in even observing vulgar rap? Because there's the phrase familiarity breeds acceptance, and then you also have an ancient writer, Plato, likens music to an arrow that soars above our conscious walls and affects our subconscious without us actively trying to affect that. Do you think that there's a line that we can draw?
Definitely.
And if there is that line, where do we find it?
Okay. I don't know if I can exactly specify where exactly the line is between rap music that is worthy of study and isn't worthy of study, but I mean, there are plenty of examples of artists that offer no really uplifting concepts to us, like Lil Pump or something. There are just a lot of artists in nowadays hip hop world that just are looking to make money, and they're looking to make it fast, and I think that even they realize that their music isn't going to last long. They're not going to go down for some as being some great artist or anything like that. But I think that people like him are not worthy of listening to, really. And I think that we should just, I don't know, it kind of ties into the just discernment thing again. Like if we're listening to something and as we study it we don't really find anything uplifting, then I think that we can define that as something that we don't need to listen to. But I think that we should really try and focus and try and look at it with more of an optimistic mindset, and I think that will allow us to find music that actually can provide good opinions and thought-worthy concepts. So,
Thank you.
It had it the whole time.
Great job. All right, so we have one.